My 5 top takes coming out of an interesting, if somewhat unspectacular, Sunday in the NFL yesterday. I will go through the college stuff a little bit later as well, but let me give you the 5 takes.
Number 5.
I will never get back the 3 hours I spent watching the Bears yesterday. The Bears on a rainy day with the quarterback that you know Matt Nagy really wants to play, that was Nagy's last stand. All right, against a good team at home, keep your season even remotely meaningful with the quarterback you know he thinks gives him a chance to win. They were so awful yesterday, I don't even know where to begin. Dalton threw 4 interceptions yesterday. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 4 interceptions this season. And that's not even it. They just look awful. Their offense looks like they have no chance. No clue, no prayer, no plan, no nothing. And they don't look like they really give a damn about it one way or the other. So that if there was ever any question about the need to just completely start over, it's now. And a little later in this hour, I'm going to put the Bears in a basket with a few other teams and figure out who has the worst future ahead of them. And the one thing you have going for you is you've got the kid at quarterback, and you hope that this year has not set him back too far, and you will get a whole new group around him, because they actually have some players. Like David Montgomery's a pretty good back. Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson, in theory, are good receivers. The offensive line is atrocious. They have this one kid, Tevin Jenkins, who they'll get. They need to completely remake that. They don't have a first-round pick to do it. But one way or the other, my take here is watching them was even worse than watching the other teams that I care about, one way or the other. They were just impossible to watch and enjoy yesterday.
Number 4.
I can't believe how bad the Chiefs' offense is. And Hembo gave this stat to Rex for TV this morning. The Chiefs' offensive line has allowed the most pressures of any team in the league. Now, they've won 5 straight games, but during that 5-game win streak, Patrick Mahomes actually leads the league in off-target throws. Their offense isn't good. They're winning because of their defense. If Aaron Rodgers had played that game, Green Bay would have blown them out. Blown them out. They beat Jordan Love. They didn't beat Aaron Rodgers. The Chiefs' offense looks awful. Tyreek Hill, I don't know what's going on with him. Mahomes doesn't look right. The offensive line is bad. I don't know if it's as simple as this, but the one thing that I think holds true through everything in football history is if you have a bad offensive line, you don't have anything. Like if your offensive line can't play, we kept using the word confidence this morning. Rex said it this morning. RC, even Dan, I think, said it. They've lost their confidence on offense. And I think a big part of it is Mahomes just has no confidence that he's going to have the ability to do what he wants to do back there because the offensive line just stinks. So one way or another, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but the Chiefs will go as far as their defense takes them. At least that's the way it feels right this minute.
Number 3.
Gronk is the most important weapon in the NFC. Gronk is unbelievable. He has turned back time in the way that Brady has turned back time. How old is Gronk? Because this is a man who retired because of injury.
He's much younger than you think. Gronk is
No, I know that. But
32.
I mean, he's 32.
You think the same age as Travis Kelce.
I know, but he's had every injury you can have. Gronk retired because of injury and has come back now and he looks as good as ever. They're splitting him out wide by himself because they know no one can take him one-on-one. Like, Gronk is awesome, and he has become the most important weapon in the NFC. Brady's connection with Gronk, which is the second most prolific in the history of the NFL in terms of touchdowns, they need Antonio Brown back. And I think that the 3 guys that Brady trusts are Antonio Brown, and it's hilarious to use that word right now in connection with Antonio Brown, but in that context, it actually applies, are Antonio Brown, Gronk, and Leonard Fournette, the 3 guys who came there with him. RC called it the Brady Bunch on TV with us this morning, and that's exactly the right way to look at it, and those guys are the reason this team is so good.
Number 2.
The Steelers and Ravens, which I opened this show with today, it was an unbelievable game, unbelievable drama. Neither team is any good. The Steelers are definitely not a threat to do anything of consequence. I was glad to see them get that win. I don't want to see Ben go out that way. The last 5 games being meaningless, being buried by your arch rival in your own building. But they're not going anywhere. This team isn't accomplishing anything of consequence. They will win the division if the division comes back to them. The Ravens have a brutal schedule. The Bengals are so hot and cold. The Browns are a mess. But the Steelers aren't going anywhere, and the Ravens aren't going anywhere, and that's because of injury. No team has been ravaged by injury the way they have. They have no corners. They have no running backs. And they have no offensive plan. At this point, the offensive plan is, Lamar, go do something unbelievable and hope that it works out. So they went from the number 1 seed yesterday to the 3 seed, and they'll drop further than that. I think whoever winds up winning this division is going to wind up doing it with the worst record of the division winners in the AFC. And I don't think any of these teams gets out of the first round of the playoffs. I don't think any team in the AFC North, certainly not the Ravens or the Steelers. The team I could see doing it actually is Cincinnati. But they're so hot and cold, I don't trust them.
Number 1.
And the number 1, I talked about it there briefly with Rex. I'll just say this. I'm embarrassed for the Jets. I'm not embarrassed by them. I get none of my identity is wrapped up in them. I know people love to send me notes. Oh, the Jets stink. If I ever criticize any other team on Twitter, they'll be like, yeah, they're better than the Jets. Yeah, well, that's setting the bar awfully low. If the best comeback you have for me is you're better than the Jets, you're not making the point you think you are. But the Jets have now gotten to a point where the other team is openly disrespecting them on the field, and they don't do anything about it. I've told this story on the air before, but I'll tell it again quickly. When I was in a fraternity, when I was a freshman in college, I was a pledge in a fraternity. And my job at the football game was to get, I'm going to use the word sodas, even though they weren't actually sodas, for all the guys in the house and bring them on a tray. And I was just sort of walking back and forth between a keg of soda that we had snuck into the stadium the night before. And so I'm walking with it. The point of the story is I'm walking with a tray of four beers through a football stadium. And these 4 big Iowa dudes in their black and gold sweaters came up and just started picking my beers up off my tray and drinking them. And there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing. Because they're 4 big guys and I'm me. So they just drank my beers. That's what the Eagles did to the Jets yesterday. But the Jets are supposed to be able to do something about it. You're C.J. Mosley. You're professional football players. You're not supposed to let a team laugh at your coach. I'm embarrassed for them. Again, I'm not embarrassed by them. 0% of my identity is wrapped up in being a Jet fan. But their defense is the worst I've ever seen. And they have no heart. And that was heartless, gutless, and humiliating. And if they aren't embarrassed by it, they should be. And maybe the saddest thing I can think of to tell you is I didn't see any obvious evidence that they were. So they have become a laughing stock. Gardner Minshew just looked like Joe Montana.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.